Hello everybody. Hello everybody. I'm sitting in the beautiful Rademeyer's Reserve. I've come early in the morning and taken a bit of a stroll, found a nice bench to sit on, and it's a moment just to say hello to you and check in for a moment. And one of the things that we've certainly found valuable is the opportunity to be outside a little bit and take moments to take a walk and enjoy the beautiful surroundings that we have here in Pretoria. Yesterday I watched the Global Leadership Summit, and wow, what a great experience it was. And I'll certainly be telling you more about that as time continues. But the closing talk was given by Pastor Albert Tate, and he really gave one of the most phenomenal messages that I've heard in a long time. And in the 12 years that I've been going to the Global Leadership Summit, I think this talk ranks in the top 5 of all the talks that I've heard over the years. And I want to share just one incredible, mind-blowing thought that he offered, and a thought that springs from that as my check-in thought for today. And that thought was that he was chatting to a friend of his, and the friend said to him, what if COVID-19 was the lesson, and this time afterwards is the test? Let me say that again. What if COVID-19 was the lesson, and our response is going to be the test? And he based all of that on the text in Exodus, where Moses tells the Israelites that God is going to give them manna from heaven, and because they'd been complaining. And here's the thought: the Israelites were free. They'd been slaves and now they're free, but they've been complaining. And so in their freedom, they're complaining and they're longing back to their days of bondage. And Albert Tate suggested that we're a little bit like that post-COVID, is that we're complaining about wanting to come back to normality. And really it's a bit like the Israelites longing to go back to slavery. Yes, coming out of slavery, coming out of Egypt was hard, it was challenging. They had to march, they had to come through the Red Sea, they had to learn new routines and new habits, but they were free. They were free. And yet, there they are complaining about the fact that they're not sure about where the next meal is coming from, and they're struggling to learn to trust God. Because that's what Israel's new normal meant, was that they had to trust God for manna in the mornings, and trust God for meat in the evenings, and that on the 6th day there'd be double the quantity, and on the 7th there wouldn't be anything, and then back on the first day there'd be manna again. And they had to learn to trust God. Now, if we come back to Albert Tate's original question, what if COVID was the lesson and what follows is the test? Let's quickly think about the lessons that we learned during COVID. And here's just some of them. We learned that family matters. We learned that rest is awesome. We learned that time spent in nature is helpful. We learned that taking care of business is less important than taking care of ourselves. We learned that people matter more than things. And we learned that we can work smarter. We learned that technology can be a good servant, but it's a poor master. We've learned that maybe meetings aren't the be-all and end-all, and that we don't have to be in the office all the time. So many incredible lessons that we learned during COVID. We learned to care for one another. We learned to think about those who had less than we do. We learned to appreciate those who fulfill essential services. So many lessons. I could go on and on. And I guess the question is that as we go back to what seems like an old normal, maybe we need to say to ourselves, maybe the old normal was actually slavery. Maybe the old normal, we were so consumed by our work and consumed by our busyness and consumed by everything. And COVID gave us an opportunity to learn some new things. And yes, there was heartache, and I don't believe that heartache was part of God's plan. That's just part of our brokenness. But in the midst of the brokenness, God has offered us some insights and some lessons. And the question is, will we learn them? Will we learn how to live better, love better, serve better, care more? And do we really want to go back to that old normal? Or do we want to pursue something better, something more valuable? And so this morning, I want to leave you with this simple question. What if COVID was the lesson, and what we do from here is the test? And maybe we need to spend a little bit of time asking ourselves, what are the 2 or 3 lessons that we really learned that we're in danger of forgetting now that we're at level 1, and our hope is that the virus is going to become less and less part of our lives? Will we go back to Egypt? Will we go back to slavery? Or will we build something better? And it's my prayer that we will. Just before I close, this photograph is of Keith and Rona Scott on their 68th wedding anniversary, which happened in April this year. I need to let you know that Rona passed away on Sunday morning, and the funeral service will be tomorrow at 11 o'clock. We want to just convey our love and our care to Keith and to his family, his daughters, their spouses, and their grandchildren and great-grandchildren. We recognize that Rona and Keith served at St. Andrew's congregation for many years and really have been faithful in God's service. And Rona will be missed for her warmth, her hospitality, and particularly for her compassion for the poor and those who have less. And we pray for God's peace and God's comfort. The service will be at 11 o'clock tomorrow. I will record it and make it available to the congregation. But our love and prayers go to Keith and to their family. I hope that you are keeping well. I hope that in the midst of this end of year season, we can get all our bits and pieces done and somehow retain our sanity, our dignity, our love, our compassion, and our kindness. And I pray that you'll know God's love in this important time. And so I'm going to be walking back and heading off to our Thursday Bible study. But it's been lovely to be with you, and from our home to yours, and from my beautiful spot in Radameyers to you. God be with you, and God bless you. And the Lord bless you and keep you, and make his face shine on you, lift up his countenance upon you, and give you his peace. Amen.